I didn't come from a loud family. We weren't the type to yell through doors or settle things over slammed dishes. We just waited. Let silence fill the room until the pain got tired and walked away. I carried that into adulthood. It made me a good teacher. Kids feel safe around people who don't flinch when things get messy. And for a while, I thought it made me a good husband too. She used to say that about me. "You're my calm," she'd whisper, arms around my ribs like they were an anchor. "You're my safe place," I believed her, even when she'd cry and not say why. Even when I found receipts that didn't match her stories. Even when she pulled away in bed and said she was just tired, I believed her. Because I was raised to give people space, and she filled every one I gave her. It started with a hotel key card I found in the laundry, not a name brand one. Some off-brand roadside place down by the highway, the kind of place that doesn't ask questions and forgets your face before you leave the lot. She said it was from a work trip, but she doesn't travel for work. She runs a yoga studio 4 blocks from our house. I didn't say anything. I just nodded, because something in her voice sounded like a test, and I'd failed enough of those in this marriage already. That night, she left her phone on the couch while she showered. I never checked her phone before. That's not who I am. But I did that night. And what I found wasn't sex, wasn't naked pictures. It was worse. It was a string of messages between her and someone saved as S. It wasn't about love or lust. It was about me. He'll be fine. He always is. He's too soft to confront me. That's why I picked him. Give me a few more months. I'll have enough saved to leave. I didn't know what hit harder, that she was planning to go or that she picked me because I wouldn't stop her. That night, I didn't confront her. I just watched her sleep. I don't think you ever really know a person until you watch them lie peacefully beside you while carrying a plan to erase you. The next day, I didn't go to work. I didn't tell anyone. I just sat in the car outside her yoga studio, watched the people come and go. At 12:43 p.m., a man pulled up in a navy BMW. He was clean-shaven, business casual, looked like he hadn't missed a day of self-confidence in his life. She came out 5 minutes later, smiling. He didn't touch her, but he didn't have to. I'd seen enough of myself in his shadow to know the role I'd unknowingly trained him to take. That night, she kissed me on the cheek and thanked me for folding the laundry. I told her, "You're welcome." And I meant it. Because sometimes you fold the clothes, not out of love, but because you want to remember exactly how they look before you never see them again. I noticed she stopped leaving the bathroom door open. That was new. We'd never been the kind of couple who needed privacy, not like that. But over the last few weeks, small doors had started to close between us, quietly, casually, like it wasn't intentional. But I noticed things. My students don't think I do, but I see the kid who stops raising his hand after his parents' divorce. I hear the silence in a voice that used to laugh loudest. People think quiet is weakness. It's not, it's memory. And I remembered the way she used to sing while brushing her teeth. Now she turned the faucet on full blast. To cover what? I wasn't sure, but I wasn't in a rush to find out. I wanted to give her the same grace I gave my students when they were hiding pain. Space. But she wasn't hiding pain. She was hiding something else entirely. She started getting up earlier than me. Not by much. 10, maybe 15 minutes. Just enough time to shower, dress, and check her phone before I opened my eyes. One morning, I woke up a little earlier than usual. Just barely. She was on the edge of the bed, fully dressed, phone in hand. She didn't see me. Her face didn't look tired. It looked rehearsed, like she was prepping for something. When she turned and saw me watching, she jumped a little, laughed. "Didn't mean to wake you." I said nothing, because sometimes silence tells more truth than questions. She leaned in, kissed my forehead, said, "You're too good to me." I smiled, because maybe I was, and maybe that was the problem. That afternoon, I walked into the studio, not during one of her classes, just at the front desk under the guise of dropping off lunch, something I hadn't done in months. She wasn't there. A young woman with a clipboard greeted me. "Oh, are you Nora's husband?" "Yeah, just thought I'd surprise her." She gave a tight smile. She stepped out, said she'd be back in 20. I checked the time. It was her lunch hour. I looked outside. No sign of the BMW. Didn't matter. I left the bag on the desk and walked back to my car. I didn't need to catch her in the act. I already knew the performance, and I knew the ending, but I wasn't going to skip to the final scene. No, this time I was going to stay for the whole show. I saw the man again 2 days later, same car, same time, parked just off the street by the back alley behind her studio. He didn't go inside. She came out. No kiss, no touch. Just two people sitting in a car, heads close, talking low, like they were discussing something serious or pretending not to be. I stayed 3 cars back, engine off. Didn't take photos, didn't need to. I already knew what I was looking at, because I've seen that look before. Not in affairs, in students. The ones who think they've fooled you, they get quiet around the truth. Fidgety, too controlled. She had that look now. And he looked like a man who believed he was smarter than the man she went home to. Let him think that. That night, she was affectionate, more than usual, wrapped herself around me on the couch like we were dating again. She asked if I wanted to take a trip soon. Just the two of us, she said. Get away from all this noise. I asked her what noise she meant. She smiled. Life. But her eyes said something else. Distraction. Like she was trying to move the spotlight before it hit her. I nodded, said I'd think about it, and while she leaned her head on my shoulder, I looked at the woman I married and wondered how long she'd been preparing the goodbye. I didn't follow her again. Didn't snoop. Didn't hack. Didn't confront. Instead, I started doing what I do best. Listening. At work, at home, in the spaces between. And in that silence, I started to find the cracks she'd left uncovered. One of her friends, Gina, mentioned something over coffee at a PTA meeting. Has Nora been doing okay? I nodded. Far as I know. She just seems tired lately, off. I didn't press, but Gina added one more thing. I know you love her. I just hope she knows what she's doing. She didn't elaborate, didn't need to, because that wasn't concern in her voice. That was warning. And I'd heard that tone before too, not from students this time, but from grown-ups who know when something's about to break. She was giving me a soft alert, and I received it, loud and clear, because it wasn't just that she was pulling away. It was that she was already setting the terms for how I'd react when she left. And I wasn't going to follow her script. Not anymore. She brought up the trip again the following week, this time with brochures, actual paper brochures, something printed, folded, and carefully slid across the kitchen counter like an olive branch wrapped in glossy colors. It's quiet, she said, tapping the photo of a cabin near the lake. No signal, just us. I nodded. Looks peaceful, she smiled. I thought you'd like that. She was watching me too closely. I knew that look too. The one kids give you when they're waiting to see if you notice the cheat sheet under their desk. I didn't give anything away. I just asked her when she wanted to go. Next month, she said. Right after your spring break starts, we could really use the time. We. The word sounded like a test, like she wanted to see if I'd still say yes to it. So I did. Sure, I told her. Book it. Let her think I was still asleep. Let her think I'd go anywhere with her. Because maybe I would, but not for the reasons she thought. That night, I emailed a lawyer, not to file for anything, just to ask questions about joint accounts, about property, about how custody of pets works when there are no children. He responded the next day with a PDF full of answers and options. I saved it to a flash drive and hid it in a hardcover copy of The Old Man and the Sea, a book she'd never open. Funny, really. A story about a man quietly battling something bigger than anyone realized. I started paying attention to the financials. Her separate savings account, the one I knew she opened 2 years ago, just to feel independent, had been more active lately. Deposits, withdrawals, transfers to an account I couldn't see. Legal? Yes. Suspicious? Only if you were watching. And I was. Not to punish, to prepare. She was building a parachute. But she forgot one thing. I'd packed that bag with her. Every detail, every shared login she assumed I forgot, every paper trail she thought she'd cleaned. I wasn't blind, just quiet. And quiet men don't panic, they plan. So I let her think she was in control. Let her think she'd leave before I noticed. Let her believe she was already gone, because the best way to show someone they never broke you is to be the one who leaves first. She left her laptop open. Not like her. Usually she's meticulous, closes every tab, logs out, even clears the browser history. But that morning, maybe she was in a rush. Maybe she just got comfortable. Maybe she thought I still wasn't paying attention. I made coffee like usual, waited until she stepped into the shower. Then I sat down and looked. No passwords needed. The screen was still on her email. Nothing shocking at first. A few work-related threads, a gym newsletter, junk mail. Then a message near the top. Subject next step, I clicked. It was from him, not by name, just an initial S. Do you think he suspects anything yet? You said April. Is that still the plan? You know I'm not going to wait forever. 3 lines. Nothing too revealing. No admissions. No confessions. But to me it said everything. She wasn't just preparing to leave, she was being pressured to. And pressure makes people sloppy, like leaving your laptop open. I didn't reply. Didn't forward it. Didn't screenshot it. I just left the laptop exactly as it was. Closed it softly. Poured her coffee. By the time she came downstairs, I was back at the sink, rinsing my mug. She kissed my shoulder. You're sweet. I smiled. Try not to forget that. She didn't flinch, didn't react, but her phone buzzed 10 minutes later and she excused herself to the bedroom. I already knew who it was and what she was going to say. Something vague, something calming, something to keep him patient. Let her lie. Let her spin her stories. Because the more she talked, the more she trapped herself. Every word another knot in the rope she thought she'd use to climb away. She didn't know I'd stopped trying to hold it. I was just watching now. And waiting. Because some people fall on their own. They just don't know it until they've already let go of everything steady. The next time she brought up the trip, I was ready. She wanted to finalize the cabin. I told her I'd book it, said I'd found a better deal through a site I knew, told her I'd handle everything, that she shouldn't worry. She looked relieved, more than she should have, like she'd been afraid I might pull away too soon. I confirmed the reservation while she was at work, but not the one she expected. Same area, different cabin, 1 bedroom, 1 name on the rental agreement. Mine. Then I called the bank, had our joint credit cards split, told them we were managing expenses separately for the next few months. Routine. Nothing alarming. They flagged nothing, because I wasn't doing anything illegal. Just preparing. I moved a portion of my salary into a personal account, not hidden, not offshore, just quiet. Mine. I emailed the lawyer again. This time I asked how to legally document financial separation without filing for divorce. He responded with a simple suggestion, a post-nuptial agreement. Low pressure, he wrote, but if she refuses, that says a lot. I saved the file. Didn't print it. Not yet. But I had it, and having it meant control. Not over her, over myself. She came home glowing that night, told me she was excited for the trip. Said she missed us. She made dinner, lit candles, played a playlist we hadn't listened to in years. I sat across from her and smiled through every bite. She was trying. Not to fix anything, to keep me steady. Still. Predictable. But I wasn't standing still anymore. I was walking. Quietly. Calmly. Toward the end, she didn't think I'd ever choose. And when she tried to land softly on the other side of her plan, she'd find nothing waiting for her. No soft goodbye, no settlement, no man left behind to keep carrying the blame. Just silence. And a locked door where my name used to be. We packed light. She joked about it, said it was good for the soul to get away from screens, clutter, and everything loud. I agreed. She thought it was a romantic kind of quiet. She didn't realize it was surgical. The drive up was long, over 3 hours. She filled the space with soft talk, memories, old playlists, half-baked dreams we used to chase together. I let her talk, didn't argue, didn't question anything. Just smiled and nodded like I didn't already know this trip was meant to be our last shared frame. She planned to leave me after it. That much was clear now, all the signs, one last perfect image, one final clean memory. So she could walk out without the mess, no guilt, no backlash, just a clean, staged end. But the cabin she booked, she wouldn't find it because the address she had wasn't where we were headed. We pulled off the main road. Gravel crunched under the tires. Pine trees thickened. The air got sharper. She looked confused. This isn't the place I picked. I know, I said. I made a change. Why? It felt like we needed something. Honest. She didn't reply. The cabin came into view. Smaller, older, but clean, well kept. 1 room, 1 bed, 1 set of expectations. Mine. She was quiet the first hour, didn't complain, didn't unpack, just sat on the porch with her phone in hand, trying to get a signal that didn't exist. Eventually, she gave up. We ate dinner in near silence, canned soup, crackers, instant coffee. She smiled like it was charming, rustic, a throwback. I didn't break the illusion because I wanted her to live in it, to feel the stillness, the absence of noise, the weight of what happens when performance has nowhere to hide. She tried to open up that night, said things felt different lately, that we hadn't been close, that maybe we'd both pulled away. I nodded. You're probably right. She asked what I wanted from all this, the trip, the future. I told her the truth, just clarity. She didn't ask what I meant because she already knew. She just wasn't sure how much of the script I'd seen. Not yet. But she would, because I hadn't brought her out here to fix anything. I brought her out here to watch the story she'd written fall apart without me playing the part she gave me. The next morning, she was already on the porch when I woke up, wrapped in a blanket, clutching a chipped mug of coffee, staring at nothing. I watched her through the screen door for a moment. She looked smaller in that light. Not fragile, not broken, just less sure of the script. Sleep okay? I asked. She jumped slightly like she'd forgotten I was part of this weekend. I didn't sleep much, she said. Dreams? She nodded, but didn't explain. We didn't do much that day. Walked a trail, sat by the water, ate in silence. She tried to talk now and then, little things, safe things, but every conversation circled back to the same invisible wall, and by evening, she stopped trying. She drank wine with dinner, more than usual. 2 glasses turned into 3. She laughed at something I said, genuinely, I think, then went quiet again. Halfway through washing dishes, she finally spoke. You've changed. Have I? She nodded. You don't reach for me anymore. I dried a plate, set it aside. I think I reached for a long time. Her eyes glassed over, but she didn't cry. Maybe she didn't have the energy, or maybe she still believed there was a way to steer this back. Are we okay? She asked. That was the crack. The first one in her voice that didn't sound planned. I could have lied, could have told her we were fine, that we'd figure it out, but I didn't, because this wasn't about fixing anything. This was about being honest. No, I said. We're not. She didn't ask what that meant, she just nodded. And for once, she didn't try to hold my hand, because maybe she knew this wasn't a moment that needed comfort. It was one that needed to breathe, even if what we were breathing in was the last of whatever we used to be. That night I lay awake, listening to her breathing, steady, measured, like someone trying to mimic the rhythm of sleep without ever actually letting go. I didn't move, didn't speak, didn't need to. The space between us in the bed felt different now, not cold, not tense, just finished, like a room you've already moved out of, even if some of your furniture is still there. In the morning, she didn't speak right away. We made breakfast, eggs, toast, instant coffee again. She didn't look at me while we ate. When she finally did, her expression was calm, too calm. She said, I think we should talk. I nodded. She took a deep breath, then another. Then finally, there's someone else. I didn't flinch, didn't respond, just let her keep going. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was lost. You were distant. We weren't connecting. I tried to fight it. The words came rehearsed, like she'd practiced them in her head for weeks, maybe months. She looked up to gauge my reaction. I gave her none. She waited, then added, I haven't acted on it, not fully, but it's been emotional, and I know that counts. It did. It counted the most. She expected me to get angry or sad, or say something sharp. Instead, I just said, I know. Her face cracked, just for a second. How long? She whispered, long enough to understand it wasn't about him, it was about you. She looked away. I stood, rinsed my plate, poured myself more coffee, then I said it. I'm not mad, I'm just done. She didn't respond. There was nothing to say because she hadn't confessed. She'd confirmed, and I wasn't asking her to leave. I was letting her go, but not on her terms, not as a victim, not as a martyr, not as someone who had no choice. She had choices, she made them, and I made mine. I drew the line, and this time I didn't step over it to make her feel better. We drove home in silence. No music, no small talk. Just the road between us, long and straight, cutting through pine and fog like a question that had already been answered. She didn't ask what I was thinking. Maybe she didn't want to know. Maybe she already did. When we got home, she lingered in the car for a moment before getting out. I waited, then followed her inside like nothing had changed, because outwardly, nothing had. No shouting, no suitcases on the porch. No dramatic walkouts, just the quiet unraveling of a marriage already gone before either of us said it aloud. That night, I emailed the lawyer again, told him I was ready, requested the paperwork, dissolution of marriage, asset split, amicable terms, all drafted with precision and finality. I asked him to deliver it via email first. I'd handle the rest. 3 days later, I placed the printed documents on the kitchen counter. She found them before dinner. Didn't touch them at first, just stared, then slowly flipped through. No yelling, no begging, just 2 tight exhales through her nose and a look I couldn't read anymore. "I guess this was always coming," she said. I nodded. "You thought you'd be the one to decide when," I said. She looked up, met my eyes, didn't deny it. "Do you hate me?" she asked. I shook my head. "No, but I also don't believe in you anymore." That hit harder than anything else could have. She didn't cry, didn't speak, just nodded and walked upstairs. She signed the papers the next morning, left them on the table. Her ring, too. I didn't put it in a drawer. I didn't throw it away. I left it right there, because some symbols don't deserve safekeeping. They deserve to be seen for what they are. Proof that I stayed, that I tried, that I left not because I was broken, but because I finally knew I was whole without her. She moved out the following weekend. No scene, no drawn-out goodbye. Just boxes, a friend's car, and a final look back at a life she no longer lived in. She didn't say where she was going, didn't offer a new address. I didn't ask, because I didn't need to know. Some stories end better when they fade to quiet. The house felt lighter after she left. Not empty, just less scripted. I started opening windows again, letting the air move freely, stopped checking my phone as often, stopped wondering if the silence meant something was wrong. Sometimes silence is just silence, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel like I had to fill it. I went back to work the next Monday. My students asked if I'd gone anywhere interesting over break. I said I stayed close to home. That wasn't a lie, because what I really meant was I finally came home to myself. Gina, her friend, stopped me in the grocery store a few days later. "I heard," she said quietly. I nodded. She didn't ask for details, but she said, "I hope you know, none of this was about who you are." I smiled. "I know who I am now." That seemed to settle something in her. She gave me a sad, kind look, then let me go. The bedroom felt different without her in it, not just because of the space, because I no longer had to shrink myself to fit inside someone else's peace. I changed the sheets, opened the closet, donated everything she left behind, not to erase her, but to reclaim the room, to make it mine again. It's strange how routines survive people. I still wake up at the same time, still drink coffee on the porch, still feed the dog, still fold the laundry the same way she used to tease me about. But there's no tension now. No sense of being watched, judged, measured against someone else's mood. I just live, quietly, steadily, the way I always did before I became a character in her story. A few weeks after she left, I found one of her notebooks tucked behind a drawer in the office. Not hidden, just forgotten. Inside were half-written to-do lists, vision boards, even a few rough journal entries. One caught my eye. He doesn't fight for me. I think that's why I keep testing him. It made sense in a way. She wanted noise. She wanted a scene. She wanted proof of passion through reaction. But I'm not built that way. I don't raise my voice to prove love, and I don't chase someone to stop them from leaving. I watched the page for a long time before I closed the notebook and slid it into a donation box. Let someone else use the paper. I'm done with old drafts. One Saturday afternoon, I bumped into an old friend at the hardware store. Dan. We hadn't talked in years, but we picked up like we never left. He asked if I was still married. I said, "Not anymore." He nodded slowly. "Good. You look lighter." He was right. I didn't rush into anything new. No rebound, no big declarations of reinvention, just small things. Fixed the squeaky gate, started running again, painted the office a darker color, something that felt more like me. And every now and then I'd sit in the quiet and think about how close I came to giving up the parts of myself that mattered, all because someone else didn't know how to sit still long enough to feel whole. But that's the difference between us. She needed someone to tell her who she was. I just needed space to remember. And now that I have it, I'm not giving it away again. Spring settled in slower than usual. The town stayed muddy longer. The trees took their time. Even the air dragged a little, like everything was trying to remember how to grow again. I understood that feeling. At school, things returned to normal. Kids brought chaos and noise and distraction. It helped, but it was the library that saved me. A new hire, she took over the media center after the last librarian retired. Name was Elise, early 30s. Wore boots even on warm days. Had the kind of dry wit that makes middle school bearable. We started with small talk, book recommendations, schedule overlaps, shared complaints about the printer. Then one morning, I caught her reshelving something and humming a song I hadn't heard in years. I said the name of the artist. She smiled. Didn't think anyone under 50 would know that. I told her some things stick if they come to you at the right time. She tilted her head. That true of people too? I didn't answer, but I thought about it all day. We didn't rush anything. A few lunches in the staff room, one walk through the farmer's market, then a movie, a shared ride to a district training. No labels, no expectations, just presence. She didn't ask about my past, but when I offered a piece of it, she listened. Not like she was cataloging facts, like she was trying to understand the shape of what had broken me without stepping on the pieces. One night, weeks later, she came over. We sat on the porch just like I always had. She asked if it ever got too quiet for me. I told her it used to feel like silence. Now it feels like space. She leaned into that thought like she'd been carrying her own version of it. Didn't ask for more, didn't try to fill the quiet. She just sat with me in it. And I think that's when I realized you don't always need someone who saves you from the dark. Sometimes you just need someone who isn't afraid to sit in it with you until the light comes back. The text came out of nowhere. Hope you're well. I left some things in the attic. Can I come by this weekend to grab them? No name, just her number. I stared at the screen for a long time, not because I didn't know how to respond, because I wanted to see if I even felt anything. I didn't. Not anger, not sadness, just the same quiet I'd finally made mine. I waited a full day before replying. Saturday at 10, I won't be home. I'll leave the side door unlocked. Please take what's yours and nothing more. She responded, thank you. That was it. No apologies, no sentiment, no weight. She kept it clean. I appreciated that. But I still double-checked every room before I left that morning, not out of fear, out of closure, to make sure nothing was left that belonged to her, except what she came for. When I returned later that afternoon, she was gone. So were the boxes. The last few bits of her handwriting, a photo frame I hadn't realized she'd left behind, and on the kitchen table where she once signed the divorce papers, there was a single note. You were right. I never really saw you. I read it once, then again. Then I folded it in half, slid it into the drawer beneath the coffee filters, and left it there. Not because I wanted to keep it, but because I wanted to remember, even when someone comes back with truth in their hands, it doesn't mean they deserve to stay. That night, Elise texted me, same spot tomorrow? I replied, yeah, looking forward to it. And I was, because the past may knock once more, but I'd already changed the locks. I started waking up earlier, not because I had to, but because I wanted the morning to myself, to sit with a book, to walk the dog, to watch the town wake up in pieces, to just be. Elise and I didn't label what we were. We didn't need to. She came over on Sundays. Sometimes we talked for hours. Sometimes we just sat, each doing our own thing, sharing the space. There was no pressure to entertain, no need to perform. She didn't try to fix me. She just let me be me. And that felt more valuable than any apology I'd ever been owed. I saw Nora once more, briefly at the grocery store. She didn't notice me. She looked fine. New haircut, new shoes, same posture. She was laughing at something someone said. A friend, maybe. I didn't feel bitter, didn't feel vindicated, just thankful. Thankful that we both got to walk away. Not winners, not losers, just people who stopped pretending. That night, Elise and I sat on the porch again. She asked if I ever missed the noise. I thought about it. No, I said. I think I just got used to mistaking it for something it wasn't. She nodded, sipping tea. Some people confuse volume for connection. I smiled. Some people do. She didn't press. She never does. And I think that's why I trust her, because in a world full of people screaming to be heard, she listens in silence. And in her quiet, I'm finally learning how to be whole again, not because I rebuilt something broken, but because I stopped waiting for someone else to finish the story for me and started writing my own, in peace, by choice, every day. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and let's hear what you'd have done in this situation. Until next time, take care.